Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about choosing the right board for your skill level, and I'm going to talk about the best tips for a beginner in choosing a board. So the four most common types of board in the surfboard industry are longboards or beginner boards, which are usually wave storms or soft tops. These provide a lot of volume and stability when you're first learning how to surf, especially catching foam or smaller green waves. The next board is a fish, and these boards tend to appear shorter, but they're usually a lot thicker than a short board, and they're a lot wider than a short board, and they also provide a lot of stability and help you to get into smaller, mushier waves. The next board is called a mid-length or a fun board. These boards are often used as transitional boards from a longboard to a shortboard. They're very versatile. You can use them often in smaller, mushier waves or bigger, steeper waves. They also provide a lot more responsiveness than a longboard. They turn quicker, they're a little bit easier to maneuver on a wave, and they're not quite as slow in their turning. The last one is a high-performance shortboard. These boards are great for catching faster, steeper waves, and they provide a lot of mobility, but at the cost of having a lot less stability. And so these are not good boards for a beginner to try to take out in the water. Even though it might seem like a better option to have a smaller board, it will actually make it a lot harder for you to progress in your surfing. And while it is possible to learn on a short board, it is definitely the harder path of the two. One factor especially to consider for beginners is your body weight or your body build. If you weigh more, you're going to need a board with a lot more volume, and if you weigh less, you won't need as much volume. Bigger boards provide more stability for catching the foam or the smaller waves and helping you to practice your pop-up, which is so integral when you're first learning how to surf. The pop-up is one of the harder techniques to learn with surfing because although you can practice it on land, it's a lot harder to translate it into surfing and when you're in the moment catching the wave. Once a surfer has progressed into their surfing and they're ready to move on from a longer or a foamy board, they can transition to a shorter high performance board, possibly even go to a mid-length and then the shorter board. But the benefit of a shorter board is it provides quicker turns, quicker response. You can kind of cut back into the wave, cut back into the foam, and kind of rip on the wave. But the downside is it's less stable and it's a lot harder to paddle in. Instead of having the buoyancy help push you into the wave and catch the wave easier, you have to paddle yourself into the wave. And so this is why a shorter board is not good for a beginner. One other really nice benefit of having a smaller, shorter board is that you can duck dive under the waves. With a longboard, usually the best technique to get past the breaking waves and the whitewash is to turtle, but this takes a lot of extra energy and effort and can get really exhausting after a while. When you're looking at surfboards, one of the factors you really have to look at is the leaders of the surfboard. The way that this is determined is with the length, the width, and the thickness multiplied by each other. And surfboard makers are able to figure out exactly how many liters that board is. The less liters there is, the more it's going to sink and the less buoyant that board is. And the more liters it is, the more buoyant it is going to be, and usually the bigger the board. To put some of this into perspective, a short board is usually around 22 liters to 35 liters. A fish is about 25 liters to 45 liters. A fun board or a mid-length is around 40 liters to 60 liters, and most longboards are 60 liters to 100 liters. So even though a short board may seem more appealing because it's lighter, it's smaller, it seems like it'd be easier to get out into the surf, it is actually not ideal for a beginner because you are the one who's going to have to push and paddle yourself into the wave instead of having the wave hit the board and keeping the board more buoyant and helping you stay in the pocket and stay above the wave. With a short board, you will sink faster and more than with a long board. One other thing to keep in mind about different boards and their sizes versus the leaders is that often fish boards, like I mentioned before, have a lot more leaders than a short board. And so even though a fish board may appear to be smaller than another short board, it is actually probably more liters than that shortboard, because fish boards tend to be wider and thicker, and this helps them be better on mushier, smaller waves, versus a shortboard you need a lot steeper and you have to take off a lot later and have that steep part of the wave push you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it helpful. If you like this video, please subscribe down below. This is one part in a 10-part series that I'm doing on a beginner's guide to surfing, and I'm going to be talking about a lot of really helpful tips for beginners, such as choosing the right conditions, surf lingo, exercises, surf training on land, reading waves, and so much more. So I am so excited to share these videos with you guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.